Do you want to be at the RNC? Do you want to meet Patricia McCloskey? Do you want to shout for the GOP? Do you want to sit with Dan Bongino?
Do you want to sit with Dan Bongino?
Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, you're probably a real freak. Or you're Nick Lutzko.
Who just did a country version of that song, available on his Twitter.
It's back.
Yeah.
But luckily, you don't have to be at the RNC to experience it, because it's also on TV and the radio and the internet. Mm-hmm. And since most of it has been pretty much what you would expect at this point from a fully MAGA-pilled Republican Party convention, something that no normal person has the time or patience for, let's just kick off today's show with just the best bits.
Yeah. Now, for starters, the timing of this thing means that Donald Trump is in attendance just days after narrowly avoiding getting killed by an assassin. So he's been wearing a bandage over the ear that was hit. And some RNC attendees have taken this as a cue to wear their own hastily crafted solidarity bandages.
It's just like the one he's got.
Definitely not a cult. One of the funniest posts I saw about this was a shot of it, and it said, when you order a pillow off Temu.
Yeah, I mean, the main guy that I keep seeing, it literally looks like a piece of like printer paper. It's not even a bandage.
It's the goofiest solidarity thing I've ever seen.
You couldn't even pop out and go to CVS to get the real thing? Come on.
Just some gauze, buddy.
Also, quick note before we get to the rest of this. We are filming this early Wednesday evening.
Oh, yeah.
So there's going to be plenty more of this to come in the future. Anything that happened on Wednesday night at the RNC, we missed.
Or in the White House, which we'll get to. There's some updates there.
There's a lot going on.
It's a busy, busy week. But of course, wearing tiny little gauze pads or paper or whatever on your ear is a very goofy way to be in solidarity with the president.
I mean, maybe they'll go full Vincent van Gogh and just start snipping their ears to be like him.
Everyone send Mr. Trump a piece of your ear to show how much you support him.
I'm a real pit bull when it comes to MAGA, and that's why I crop my ears, just like a pit bull.
So yeah, clearly not a cult. But anyways, Trump doesn't take the stage until day 4, Thursday night. But in the meantime, a lot has happened, though not really on stage. I mean, there's been dozens of speakers every evening.
So many. It's like 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
I don't remember the RNC being this long. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's an election year. They got a lot of cult of personality figures now. They're all gonna want as much time as possible. They got to squeeze them in.
We got a lot of freaks we need to fit up here on this stage.
Yeah. So I mean, here's what's happened on stage. They've just kind of mostly all kind of said the same thing and exactly what you'd expect them to say. If you've been watching this for any period of time, it's that. Here's a clip.
Hey everybody, my name is Tim Sheehy. Those are also my pronouns.
Okay, well, I mean, we do got to give this guy some credit for managing to inject a tiny amount of life into that dead horse before beating it to death again. His last name is Sheehy. It sounds like Sheehy.
So those are his pronouns. Is he saying? No, he's just making a joke.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it wasn't my pronouns are kiss my ass. Or my pronouns are Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Although, probably some other speakers doing that too.
I've seen reports of gender-neutral bathrooms on site at the RNC.
Oh my God!
Big problem, obviously.
Shut it down. Elsewhere, we had big wet loser Ron DeSantis helpfully reminding everyone who forgot, reminding them why his prospects of being president evaporated as soon as everyone heard him speak.
They can't even define what a woman is. They can't even...
Ron DeSantis.
Loser.
He is so bad at sounding like a tough guy.
Yeah, no, the more he tries, the worse he sounds.
Instead of there's a way to project your voice. And going high-pitched and screaming is not what you do when you're trying to project power and strength.
And then we had Marjorie Taylor Greene being, her usual deranged self. But this time, she did so on, I guess, an extra hot microphone that managed to capture her doing some kind of weird throat giggling noises.
Make America successful again. Wealthy again. The country we deserve.
Wow. Wow.
Not every RNC speaker is what you'd expect, though. For example, Amber Rose, who's probably most known for being a rap video vixen who at one point dated Kanye West and was married to Wiz Khalifa. Also accused Kanye of liking fingers in the butthole at one point.
He's a finger in the booty ass bitch, is what the quote was.
She's gone all in for Trump, despite Republican values seeming pretty out of step with the fact that she's actively an OnlyFans model, and she also previously helped organize the Slut Walk.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that would be going against what they project as their values, is what we're trying to say.
These are things they don't like.
Exactly, yeah.
So anyway, she spoke at the RNC, and here's what Matt Walsh had to say about that. The RNC gives a primetime speaking slot to a pro-abortion feminist and self-proclaimed slut with a face tattoo whose only claim to fame is having sex with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized by this person.
Says the man who was selling a stuffed animal version of himself wearing a diaper.
Diaper fetish
for
plushie
months.
of himself.
Yeah.
And also Matt Walsh,
Yeah.
I think you're wrong because a lot of very horny people out there.
Yeah. Could sway some voting.
And I'm sure people do vote based on not just vibes, but horniness.
That's true. Amber Rose also appeared in a music video that premiered at the RNC by MAGA rapper and fellow face tattoo haver Forgiato Blow.
We voting Donald Trump, baby. Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving.
Okay, so that's something.
I remember the days of yore when the Democrats were the ones making cringe like this. Close to my heart. I think about it almost every day. I wish I didn't. I wish I could escape from this prison. But Hillary in 2008 had this song called Hillary for You and Me that is the lamest fucking song ever recorded.
Hillary for you and me, bring back our democracy. Vote from sea to shining sea, everyone for Hillary. Fighting in a war,
But we don't know what we're fighting for.
in school we're testing minds.
But we're leaving our children all behind.
Yeah. And I think about it all the time. And who could have predicted that you fast forward, 16 years, and here we are. And they're doing cringe, but the new kind.
Yeah.
The rap kind.
Again, a beautiful piece of art.
It is something. And this guy is prolific. I've been following, like a lot of people were first introduced Forgiato Blow at the RNC, but he's been at this for a long time. I believe he was involved with, my favorite one was a song about Target called Target is Targeting Kids.
Oh, God.
Which, yeah.
I'm surprised
something will happen in the news cycle and he'll have a fucking song and video out within like a week.
Yeah.
Listen, all else aside, I admire this guy's work ethic at exclusively making music about like Republican talking points.
There's some things you have to hand it to, like all of the t-shirt salesmen on the boardwalk and in New York City pumping out Trump shirts within minutes of him.
You could get a Trump assassination fist bump shirt on Atlantic City boardwalk within like 10 minutes. It seemed like it was like even faster than the New York City earthquake shirts.
What I'm thinking though is how upset Tim Cook is, not Tim Cook. That's Tim Apple.
Oh, geez, I don't like this one bit.
Tim Pool is that his band didn't get approached to perform at the RNC.
Oh, I bet he's steaming mad.
Yeah.
Or at least let him do tricks on his skateboard outside.
Yeah, like it's X Games or Warped Tour or something.
Yeah.
Get him out there to impress people.
Where's Tim's parade?
He wears a giant beanie that's a helmet when he skates. But back on the convention stage, we also got maybe the funniest clip of the convention from West Virginia Governor Jim Justice.
Bottom line to every single thing that's going on in this great country today is one thing. We become totally unhinged if Donald Trump is not elected in November.
Okay. I mean, it's already a bizarre clip, and then the dog shows up.
Whoever was running the boards at C-SPAN, did they know that they were creating art in that moment?
C-SPAN, in the past couple of years, has absolutely nailed comedic timing.
Yeah, just like the cutaways.
It has to happen naturally, but whoever is the director or producer behind the scenes is nailing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an incredible clip.
Yeah, it is so good just to pan out and see that big, beautiful dog sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that obese dog is actually a callback to a story from a couple of years ago when Governor Justice held it up during a speech and told Bette Midler she could kiss the dog's ass.
Yeah, remember that?
Very
that
normal
dog
stuff.
is still alive.
The guy looks like the boss from Monsters, Inc. So yeah, anyways, that clip was good, but it does have some stiff competition. Like when who is very sober, Rudy Giuliani, tripped and ate shit into a bunch of folding chairs.
Yeah, this was so weird. The only explanation I can come up with is that he was just shit-faced. And this happened like before the
Early
convention.
on.
Yeah, this was like
When you watch the video,
noon.
it's like he spotted something in the chairs and then his whole body equilibrium aimed him towards it.
Yeah, he really ate shit though. And it took like minutes for him to even get back up. Like he was disoriented.
When you watch this, which does happen technically in slow motion, when you watch this, you have a very good example of visualization of what happens when a drunk driver loses control of the car.
Yeah.
He starts sideswiping the cars on the side of the road.
Yeah.
In this case, it was chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but look, Rudy, he has an excuse this week. It's been a pretty heavy week.
Yeah, what happened?
And I think that one of the best examples of everyone cutting a little loose had to be, and this is unfortunate because it was the first rendition after the assassination attempt, but the girl who sang the national anthem at the home run derby
And then promptly checked herself into rehab.
Yes.
Yeah, that was...
The pressure is the first nationally
She's
televised,
not just a girl. She's a professional country singer.
yeah, and was apparently wasted. And
Yeah.
look, you got to give her a little bit of
Yeah,
credit.
she immediately went on like the text Instagram post being like, yeah, so I was fucking wasted.
And why
I'm going to
shouldn't she be?
rehab.
She's performing the national anthem, the first time national broadcast after an assassination attempt.
I hadn't
and
even
botched
thought
it.
about the timing, but yeah. Yeah, that
Tough
was
stuff.
interesting. A lot of little fun little tidbits just sprinkled throughout the news week.
Again, if you believe in the parallel universe theory,
I do
there's,
now.
There's some shit firing off right now that is bizarre that would not be happening if we didn't just hit some divergent kind of fork in the road. It's weird. But back to the RNC. If hating Matt Gaetz is more your thing, which we all love, there was this incredible interaction between him and his nemesis, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, that has to be seen from multiple angles if you want to get the full experience. Here you go.
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue. He's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old. So that's the way they would go. So that's the biggest challenge we have.
You would get booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, man, be an asshole.
Dude, I don't even know who you are.
It doesn't fucking matter who I am. I'll be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here.
Also, like pretty much like right before we started filming, Matt Gaetz went on stage. I haven't seen his speech, but you don't need to hear the words. It's what the fuck is going on with his face?
He looks like in Beetlejuice when they pull their heads back.
Yeah, I mean, he's been at the convention this whole week. We know what he looked like yesterday.
No, he got some work done today. He got
literally
some Botox
went to the fucking face doctor and he said, tighten it up. Tighten it up real good.
I want to look really good for the cameras tonight.
Yeah, it's so that's weird. Looking good, sir.
Yeah, looking great. Keep doing it.
Kevin McCarthy probably having a great laugh the second Matt Gaetz took the stage.
Yeah.
Because he fucking hates him. Anyway, that was fun. But other than these weird moments, of which there will surely, hopefully, be more by the time this whole thing's over.
Yeah.
The only thing that was newsworthy about the RNC was Trump finally picking his new running mate. And hey, wait a minute. What happened to Trump's old running mate? I thought he already had one of those.
Yeah, some of the best takes were like, why don't you ask the old employee why the position is open?
Yeah. Because, Trump's fans tried to kill the old VP.
Yeah.
That's why the position is open.
Yeah.
So, congrats to JD Vance for getting Mike Pence's sloppy seconds and for being the first millennial on a major U.S. party's presidential ticket. You guys asked for younger blood in politics, but you didn't realize that the monkey's paw
was closing. Yeah, and the first Magic the Gathering player to be the vice president.
Is he a fucking MTG player?
Yeah, there is some discussion online from MTG players that, like, we can't let Trump win because then the Republican will be the first Magic the Gathering player in office. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Vance is an interesting choice for Trump, not just because of his age or the fact that he has just numerous previous statements from 2016 being extremely critical of Trump, including comparing him to Hitler. He's also a tech guy. And because this is usually our tech episode, let's, I guess, look into that a little bit more. Here's The Verge.
Vance has long-running ties to the tech industry. He worked as an investor for Thiel's Mithril Capital, and in 2016, he was catapulted to the attention of the Silicon Valley elite with the publication of Hillbilly Elegy, his best-selling memoir about growing up in Kentucky and Ohio. The book's influence became hard to escape in some tech circles after Trump became president. Thiel famously played a key role in helping elect Trump in 2016. He later helped bankroll Vance's successful Senate campaign in 2022. Around that time, both Thiel and Vance invested in Rumble, a conservative competitor to YouTube.
While Thiel distanced himself from Trump after Biden took office in 2020, Vance leaned in. Republican donors from the tech world have been pushing for him to be Trump's VP pick for some time. Last month, he helped bring to life a fundraiser for Trump in San Francisco that was hosted by tech investors David Sachs and Chamath Palihapitiya of the All In podcast. Vance's anti-Google, pro-crypto leanings are perfectly in line with a certain corner of Silicon Valley, as is his sympathy for the pro-natalist movement, whose obsession with declining birth rates is sometimes at odds with women's bodily autonomy. A tech executive who supports Biden and has met Vance multiple times described him as based to The Verge. He is younger and gets it.
I mean, at this point, like, it's been such a dramatic shift over the past 10 years that you, at this point, could safely assume that anyone high up in the tech space is just either a upfront ultra-conservative
high up in the tech space and not at, like, Google or...
I would say, even secretly, there's probably some.
There absolutely is. But like in terms of like CEOs, it's like smaller, more niche operations. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these guys all were like, they've always been like libertarians in a lot of ways, but they have sort of accidentally reverse engineered themselves into like crypto fascism.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting trajectory. Mm-hmm. It's gone down in the past decade. But yeah, here we are.
Well, I mean, that's certainly interesting, and it definitely reflects a growing trend among rich Silicon Valley dickheads to ditch any pretense of progressiveness. I mean, they're just coming out and saying it recently. Yeah. Elon Musk is obviously the biggest and most annoying example of this, and he has already come out and endorsed Trump immediately following that failed assassination attempt over the weekend. Now here's this from the Wall Street Journal this week. Elon Musk has said he plans to commit around $45 million a month to a new super political action committee backing former President Donald Trump's presidential run, according to people familiar with the matter. Formed in June, America PAC is focused on registering voters and persuading constituents to vote early and request mail-in ballots in swing states, according to one of the people. Oh, they do mail-in now?
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool. The coalition assessed that the Democrats have historically had very robust get-out-the-vote campaigns and took note of the amounts of money that the Biden camp has dedicated to what are called on-the-ground efforts in swing states. America PAC will try to counter that. After this article published, Musk on X posted a humorous meme responding to it with the caption, "Fake news." Subsequently, he wrote, "Yeah," in response to a post that said, Elon Musk went from being an Obama voter to pledging $180 million to elect Donald J. Trump. The woke left really fucked up badly.
And then, also on Tuesday, Elon announced he's pulling all of his companies out of California.
It's the first time he's pulled out.
Because of woke.
Yeah, but we're still giving him a round of applause, not only for getting the fuck out of my state,
bye-bye,
but also finally learning how to pull out.
My favorite thing about this, I mean, it will have like some effect on the state's economy, but really not that much. People are like, oh, good, California, good luck without Elon Musk's companies. And it's like, we are the most economically diversified state in the country, possibly in the world. Yeah. We're going to be fine. Also, if anything, the real estate that he's currently taking up will now go to companies who can make much better use of it.
And pay their rent.
Yeah.
Also, SpaceX still going to be launching out of Vandenberg for the foreseeable future. I mean, they'll also, obviously, Texas and Florida. But I believe SpaceX was already registered in Texas anyway. So
they already have.
They're just moving literally the headquarters. So the state wasn't getting that much in benefits anyway. And by the way, update, as we've been telling you for years, all of his projects are government subsidized anyway.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, he's probably costing California more money than he was bringing in.
Get the fuck out.
Anyway.
And he's moving to the most liberal city in in Texas, which is Austin.
Texas, yeah. God, R.I.P. Austin. That place, it's Austin and Seattle, two cities that every time I go, it's worse than the last. More fucking polo shirt lanyard dickheads walking around, driving the rent up, kicking out all the people that made it cool. They gotta move. I hate it.
It's tech gentrification.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's NBC News. SpaceX CEO and ex-owner Elon Musk said Tuesday he will move the headquarters of both companies from California to Texas. Musk vowed the moves in response to Governor Gavin Newsom signing a new law on Tuesday that bars school districts in California from requiring parents to be notified of a child's gender identification change. Wait, what the fuck does that have to do with...
Yeah, why does that matter?
How does that affect your business?
I want to point out, we've said this before, but there's a reason, a very obvious, if you just think for 2 seconds, reason why a young person would come out to a school administrator, teacher, or guidance counselor rather than their own parent.
Yeah.
Is it because their parent might potentially get violent with them or discipline them or send them to a conversion camp or any other reason that they would want to find an adult who is safer to talk to? And also, this is the reason you're leaving?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with rockets or social media. Anyway, it continues. This is the final straw. Because of this law and the many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its HQ from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas. Musk posted on X. He later added that XHQ will also move from San Francisco to Austin. I did make it clear to Governor Newsom about a year ago that laws of this nature would force families and companies to leave California to protect their children, he added. In 2022, People magazine reported Elon Musk's then 18-year-old daughter was granted permission to legally change her name and gender. She shed the Musk family name and took the maiden name of her mother, Justine Wilson, instead. And that's where this all comes from.
It definitely is. And for this child of his, imagine telling your father, Elon Musk, it might be nicer to tell a trusted authority figure instead of your absolute nut job dad. But again, getting back to why this exists, even though it's a very dumb reason for him to move his companies, he was just waiting for any reason.
Yeah.
This was just the one that happened at the time that he was going to announce it anyway, after the Donald Trump stuff. But like, guys, there's a lot of really abusive parents out there, physically abusive parents.
Yeah, there's a lot of parents that if you don't like kids getting hurt, you wouldn't want that parent to find out their kid is asking questions about their gender.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
But as far as leaving, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, bitch.
I think we'll be fine. But yeah, Musk is going full mask off MAGA. It's not that surprising if you've been paying attention.
Not at all.
But it does represent a larger trend. I mean, there's a bunch of other big tech and venture capital names giving money to that super PAC. And this week...
the Winklevoss twins are in there.
Their entire...
They just want to win for once.
Yeah. This week, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz also came out as voting for Trump this year. So given J.D. Vance's previous work in tech with the likes of Peter Thiel, there's a good chance Trump's VP decision was influenced by the money and support he's receiving from Silicon Valley. Which is, of course, hilarious because all Trump had to do was pick someone slightly normal that could appeal to moderate conservatives. And instead, he picked a guy whose views on stuff like abortion and same-sex marriage are extreme even by Republican standards. Just this week, it was reported that as a congressman, he tried to get the law changed so police can have access to people's medical records so they can hunt down people who cross state lines to seek abortions in states where it is legal.
Yeah, he also fully wants a nationwide abortion ban.
Yes.
Not just leave it up to the states. He wants it banned nationwide. He also opposes laws that would protect same-sex marriage. He opposes laws that would protect interracial marriage, even though he is literally in an interracial marriage himself.
Yes.
Yeah. So pretty extreme, even by MAGA standards. And also like the kind of thing that it seems like Trump himself was trying to like distance himself from, but they're going all in, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, abortion is, of course, one of the key issues of this election, and stuff like this from the Trump ticket. Seems like it would be a slam dunk for whoever is running against it.
Who is that person?
Unfortunately, that person is Joe Biden. And how is Joe Biden doing? Oh, he's got COVID.
Yeah.
Or in his own words, I'm sick.
Sick and tired of Elon Musk and his...
So that was whoever is running his Twitter accounts attempted a joke because that tweet just saying I'm sick, it's followed by a second tweet that clarifies that he's sick of Elon Musk and his rich buddies trying to buy this election. Good one, sir.
Log off.
Nailed it. But he has COVID.
Yeah,
which
that's real.
Seems not great for someone who is 81 years old, especially when that person is supposed to be campaigning for the presidency at a time when voters and members of his own party increasingly want him to not do that and please step down. Oh, also, he's apparently not even putting on a damn mask even after testing positive, which is very cool especially like a week after saying like, I'm the one that stopped COVID. He's the one that didn't stop COVID.
No, he's trying to get back at the Secret Service for their lapse in security detail.
Yeah, I thought this was like, oh, maybe it was like an old clip or a clip from like early in the day. But no, it sounds like they announced that he had COVID, and then he went to the airport and they show him getting out of the fucking limo to get on the plane. And he's not wearing a fucking mask.
Yeah.
So RIP to all those Secret Service agents.
Also, if for some reason you were like still under the impression that he's doing just fine, but even before this, the interview with Lester Holt.
We'll get to that in just a second. Because, yeah, this timing is ridiculous in ways that we'll get to very soon. But it's also just hilarious in a sad, hilarious way.
It's just comical in a way that seems like this is all. It's like a plot point in a hilarious episode of a satirical political comedy.
Yeah. So he recently said that, quote, only the Lord Almighty could convince him to drop out.
Oh, not like that.
And then just hours before testing positive, he said that he might consider it if, I don't know, some serious medical condition came up. Joe, I think the Lord Almighty is trying to send you a message. It's loud and clear.
Yeah.
You should listen to him.
Yeah. Saying that statement is literally foreshadowing. Like, it's beautifully written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that message that the Lord is trying to make very clear to you, it's the same message that we're seeing consistently in all of the polls, all of them. For example, here's the Associated Press just a few hours before that COVID news.
Nearly 2/3 of Democrats say President Joe Biden should withdraw from the presidential race and let his party nominate a different candidate, according to a new poll, sharply undercutting his post-debate claim that average Democrats are still with him, even if some big names are turning on it. The new survey by the AP-NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, conducted as Biden works to salvage his candidacy 2 weeks after his debate flop, also found that only about 3 in 10 Democrats are extremely or very confident that he has the mental capability to serve effectively as president, down slightly from 40% in an AP-NORC poll in February.
And yeah, that last part. Wait, why wasn't anyone talking? The people who are being polled have been saying this exact thing for more than a year.
And they haven't been listening.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me that people have been so upset with us for begging this guy to step down when it's like, guys, we've just wasted 3 weeks. He could have fucking stepped down.
We wasted 3 weeks. We wasted a whole term before that. And also, oh my God. After nearly 4 years of being gaslit about this by everyone, Joe Biden, in an interview with like Complex, was just like, yeah, so I was planning on doing one term. I think, a lot of people were like, hey, he should do one term. And I was like, yeah, I'll do one term. But, I just decided, nah, I'm going to do 2.
I watched the Complex interview.
This whole time, everyone's been like, he never said that.
I watched the Complex interview, and it was, again, just another glaring example of him not having the mental fitness to run the country at a time of extreme turmoil.
Yeah, it's just objectively, like, you can like the stuff he's done as president.
Yeah. That's why everyone, for the first, let's say, week or 10 days after the debate, obviously you've seen people get a little more brave with it, Adam Schiff and potentially Chuck Schumer. But in the following week, people were, as we've pointed out, Mr. President, you have done a wonderful job.
You've been the best president of all time.
Love you. But, and he didn't step down.
Yeah.
And now it's a snowball effect of problems.
It's not going away.
No.
Also, on Wednesday, we got even more polling showing that in every single battleground state that has a Senate race this year, the Democratic Senate candidate is winning. Oh, good.
Yeah.
But Biden is losing. And it's a pretty wide gap in each of these states. So it appears there's a significant amount of people who seem perfectly willing to vote for Democrats, as long as that Democrat is not Joe Biden.
What's that? The sound of a coconut falling from a tree existing within the context?
Do I hear weird giggles off in the distance?
Oh my God.
The wheels on the bus go round and round. So yeah, the voters could not be more clear about their perception that Joe Biden is too damn old and too feeble for this job. And what is Joe Biden doing to assuage those concerns?
What happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
Great.
Yeah, nailed it. Sound very not weak, not feeble. Sound like a man who is strong and able to be president for 4 more years until he is 86 years old. Good job. I'm sure a lot of voters' minds, a lot of people who are like, I don't know, he seems a bit old. They saw him on that Lester Holt interview and they're like, actually, no, he's fine.
It is kind of crazy how many attempts at fixing this he has done.
Yeah, no, every single one falls flat.
Yes.
Like, he, after there was debate, then all the fucking op-ed journalists came out, but then it was 4th of July and Biden and people, they're like, well, let's just let this cool off over the holiday. And then it kicked back up again. He did the NATO conference and wow, he sounds old as fuck. He's trailing off. He does not seem mentally sharp. And you got more of him. And
Complex,
then,
Lester
he starts
Holt,
doing all these interviews and each one is just terrible.
George Stephanopoulos.
Yeah.
Like all of these were awful. But on the bright side of this shit show, it at least seems to have forced Biden to start offering a pitch to voters that isn't, I'm not Donald Trump. He's reportedly getting ready to endorse some pretty serious reforms like adding term limits and an enforceable ethics code to the Supreme Court.
That would be cool.
But also to add a new constitutional amendment undoing the Supreme Court's recent ruling on presidential immunity. They're not going to be happy about that. Now, all of this would, of course, require that Democrats control the White House and both branches of Congress. So it's only something that he could do under the best case scenario for the election. So you would hope the strong presidential candidate and others would really make this happen.
And this is good. It's important.
Yes.
But it is weird that it took just this absolute desperate situation for him to be like, oh, I should probably tell people what I would do if I was president again.
Yeah.
Huh. Some people might be wondering about that.
Yeah. Biden also has a plan to implement nationwide rent control that would cap rent increases at 5% per year for large landlords with more than 50 properties.
Okay, that's not nothing. That's good.
Well, here he is announcing it.
The idea that corporate-owned housing is able to raise your rent $300-400 a month or something, under what I'm about to announce, they can't raise it more than $55.
Oh, wow. Well, it does sound like he's updated the plan.
He made it even better.
Yeah, except no, he read the fucking teleprompter wrong. He was supposed to say 5%. He said $55, and you could see why, especially if this came down to if this came down to a national security issue.
Yeah.
I was almost sweating.
All right, Jack, time to drop the bombs on.
Yeah.
Did he say, all right, well, just drop the bombs, I guess.
Luckily, he didn't. I was nervously waiting for him to drop some huge national security flub at the NATO press conference.
Yeah.
Like, just
we got all our friends here, and we got the aliens from Roswell are in the back. Well, geez, I shouldn't have said that.
Anyway. His go-to now is just going, anyway.
Anyway.
In the middle of his sentence.
Yeah.
So,
things are pretty bleak out here. But they're even bleaker on the inside, if you can believe it. On Sunday, Axios quoted an unnamed senior House Democrat as saying, "We've all resigned ourselves to a second Trump presidency."
Oh, good. I'm glad you have, because the rest of us would really like to not lose this election.
Why don't you fucking speak up, you piece of shit? And meanwhile, here's NBC News on Tuesday with just the mood, the general vibe within the Biden campaign. By the end of last week, the president and his team had settled on a strategy forward, the 5 people familiar with the internal discussion said. That strategy, as described by multiple Biden aides and allies, is to run out the clock. Biden aides are looking to leave Democrats little space for pushing him out of the race. The top Biden aide said the hope has been for the Republican National Convention to become a tipping point where Democrats started focusing on Trump, not Biden. We're hopeful people will say, okay, well, he's doing what we asked for and he's doing it effectively, the aide said. Another close Biden ally described the approach this way: shut it down and play out the clock. The president's aides have expected more Democrats to urge him to exit the race, but they also hope that if he can weather the coming week or so without a significant misstep or a devastating poll, the calls for him to step aside will subside. And yeah, in the time since that was published, there have been more devastating polls, and he got fucking COVID. So,
But yeah, the calls for Biden to step aside, they're not subsiding. On Wednesday morning, Congressman Adam Schiff, who is about to become a senator in November, became the highest profile elected Democrat to publicly call for Biden to step aside due to concerns about whether he can beat Trump. Meanwhile, it really sounds like Nancy Pelosi is working behind the scenes to make it happen, according to Politico. One House Democrat anxious about President Joe Biden's effect on the 2024 campaign recently sought out guidance from a trusted party leader, Nancy Pelosi. This lawmaker, who represents a swing seat and was granted anonymity to describe private conversations, said Pelosi asked detailed questions about congressional district-level polling and was very receptive to concerns that Biden couldn't win in November. The member ended the phone call with the distinct impression that Pelosi believed Biden should exit the presidential race.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Nancy. She is good at politics.
She wants to win.
She's been in this game for a long time.
She wants to win so she can keep making that stock market money, baby.
Yeah. So this is interesting. She is plotting.
Yeah.
And you know what? Slay, queen. And then there's this from ABC News on Wednesday.
And I am told that the pressure from Democratic leaders for Biden to get out of the race is intensifying. In fact, one person who has been out there publicly defending Biden told me just a short while ago, Biden is going to see the whole house of cards come down soon. As for that meeting in Rehoboth, Delaware, I am told that this was a one-on-one meeting, just the Senate leader and the president, and that Chuck Schumer forcefully made the case that it would be better for Biden, better for the Democratic Party, and better for the country if he were to bow out of the race. And David, when I went to Schumer's office to ask them to tell them I was going to report this and tell you this tonight, absolutely no denial from Senator Schumer's office. They only said this: Leader Schumer conveyed the views of his caucus. In other words, the views of Democratic senators. I am also told that Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, has expressed similar views directly to the president.
So, woo!
Yeah.
Boy, that's where things are for us, at least on Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the time this goes up, there will surely have been more news, probably a lot more cringe from the Republican National Convention, but we will just have to put a pin in it, pick things up tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are truly cursed with living in interesting times. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Make things less. It was a great quote. I think it was Bernie Sanders, like last week. He's like, politics should be boring.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, yes, Bernie, I agree. There is something you can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's playing his own side quest with this that I don't really fully understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, this is what's happening. The tide is not shifting. The tide is continuing. And I was listening to NPR in the car on the way over here to film, and NP fucking R. They were being very just not sugarcoating it. They're just like, yeah, Biden's gonna lose. All of the data we have as politics reporters indicates that Biden is gonna lose. You have all these people telling him, you're gonna lose. You need to drop out.
Again,
we'd have a better chance without you. That's what the polling says. And he's like, nah, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't get mad at us. We're trying to help. We're trying to help the situation. Like,
we have no control of the situation.
Absolutely not.
Either way.
But like, don't get mad at us for being like, yeah, he should step aside so we can fucking win. Because so many comments and posts just like, geez, guys, real bummer that I would like it if he stepped aside. That's all I'm saying.
People have retreated to this like peasant brain mental stage where it's like, if you talk about the devil, it makes the devil real.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at.
Yeah. Also, like,
I'm sorry. Either the devil's real or he's not. Talking about him's not going to make a difference.
The past 3 weeks, assassination, the debate, everything, the assassination attempt, the debate and everything like that. It's like, it is really one of those moments where there are these flaps of like ultra conspiracy stuff, and that is not party specific. As we've seen over the past week.
People have gotten real weird.
Yeah, it is quite literally.
Taylor Lorenz published a pretty good little piece in Washington Post the other day about the rise of Blue Anon.
Yeah.
So that is now officially part of the lexicon.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's it really does alter people's realities. And
although I'm going to put out a conspiracy theory right here.
Oh God.
Joe Biden does not have COVID. He's just doing this so that people stop calling him, telling him to drop out. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't answer the phone. I have COVID. Why don't we just talk at the Democratic National Convention in a couple weeks, and whatever it is you're calling about, we can talk about it then.
My interview with Lester Holt, I was suffering from brain fog.
Yeah.
What do you hate sick people?
I don't actually believe that, but I don't.
It's as good a theory as
any. I also
any.
don't not believe it. It's it would at this point
pretty light on the conspiracy scale, but obviously Elliot's brain has been microwaved since the debate.
That's right. I'm in my own Anon group.
Yeah, you know what would stop that from happening is wearing a tinfoil hat. It stops the microwaves.
Well, you don't know what's under this hat. Crinkle, crinkle.
Yeah, maybe. All right, well, that's the end of this episode. Please, if you're on the fence, if you're an undecided voter, vote for clicking the join button on our channel.
Vote with your finger.
Yeah, click the join button, become a contributing member of the channel.
And then vote with your thumb.
And then click the like button. But we would really love to have more members supporting the channel.
Yeah.
It would make things a
Vote
lot
with
less
your
stressful
wallet.
for us. But obviously, leave a like, leave a comment, a nice discussion down there in the marketplace of ideas. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and thank you for watching. If you somehow need to be caught up on other things, Elon is trying to colonate Mars, and populate Mars with his own children that he is spawning. And then we have the full breakdown of everything we knew as of Monday night on the Trump shooting. So check both of those out, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.